Hey, welcome to Beat Everyone. I am Ben Flanagan with AL.com, and we're back at SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia. The unofficial kickoff to the college football season. We're here to give you everything that we see and hear about Alabama football this past week and over the next few days. And it was Kalen DeBoer Day here in Atlanta. We heard directly from the head coach and three of his top players. We've already had some special episodes and guests thanks to our SEC Media Day correspondents, Nick Kelly and Matt Scalisi. We've talked to Alabama legends like Greg McElroy and Damian Harris, the best analysts in college football like Josh Pate and Cole Kubelik, ESPN's Chris Lowe. You got to go back and listen to all of those interviews and all those episodes wherever you can find Beat Everyone. And today we have even more from the best in the business, plus a couple of those Crimson Tide players that I mentioned. We're talking all things Alabama football, predictions, reactions, surprises, more, so you got to stick around. Let's go to my conversation first with ESPN and SEC Network college football analyst Jordan Rodgers. How's it going so far?
Good. Real good.
Yeah, good. Are we good?
We're good.
On?
Ready to roll.
Perfect. So we're here with ESPN and SEC Network college football analyst Jordan Rodgers, former Vanderbilt quarterback. You've been part of the Alabama-Vandy rivalry throughout the years.
It's a rivalry now?
Well, it has to be.
When I was playing.
I mean,
it is now, I guess.
Alabama sees this as a revenge game this year, mind you. Yeah. I mean, you saw what happened. I mean, Jordan, you're great at what you do. You do it with impressive objectivity, obviously. But if you will indulge me, what were you truly thinking and feeling as Vandy took down Alabama last year?
It was bittersweet because my normal crew, Tom Hart and Cole Kubelik, called that game. I was pulled off that crew for that week to call the A&M Missouri game, and it ended up being a blowout. So I was sitting in a hotel room in College Station watching this going, how the am I not there? Like it was tough. I loved watching it, obviously, because I was happy for Clark Lee and everything that he's been through. It's probably a good thing I wasn't there because I probably would have been very unprofessional. I probably would have ran out of the booth. I probably would have rode the goalpost down Broadway. And I told my wife, I was like, you probably wouldn't have heard from me till Sunday morning when I found my phone in a gutter. So it was. I've been so close with Clark the last couple of years, just trying to give any insight, especially early in his tenure, to the difficulty of Vanderbilt. It's a unique job. And his struggles in wanting to get that culture to where he wants and ups and downs. So I just loved it for Clark, that he could have that moment to kind of prove that what he was doing wasn't in vain.
Well, I mean, you did play against Alabama and a Nick Saban team. What do you remember about playing against a Nick Saban team?
Yeah, I remember. So I hadn't quite taken over the starting job yet. And Larry Smith was our starter there, and he was a little banged up, so they pulled him sometime in the late first quarter, I think, and I came in. My vivid first memory is walking to the line of scrimmage, because back then we still took snaps from under center. I sound old now. And looking left and right at this defense and thinking in my head, I've never seen guys this big. We don't have guys that look like Dante Hightower. We don't have guys that look like Mark Barron. We don't have guys, I'm forgetting one of the defensive ends that was just a monster too. That team, I think, had 5 first-round draft picks. Drake Kirkpatrick was in the back or in the corner as well. They had dudes all over the place. The most vivid memory, which has hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube, is we called in a speed option play, and the defensive end took the running back. So I decided to cut it upfield. My fullback was a lead blocker. He kind of dove trying to cut the corner. For some reason, I felt like I had to jump a little bit. I did not have to jump. And Mark Barron had about a 20-yard head start running full speed at 230 pounds, hit me, which he would have been ejected and it would have been suspended for the next half of the next game as well, because we went helmet to helmet and hit me right in the ear hole. And the funniest part about that TV broadcast is they zoom in on me as I pop up. I had like a fight or flight pop-up reaction because I am out on my feet. Yeah. My helmet is crooked. My earpiece is up by my forehead. I'm trying to like piece it back down. I'm blinking. And all I remember is my offensive coordinator called it a speed option the very next play. And I looked to the sideline like, what are we doing? I remember taking the snap and just pitching. I didn't even attempt to run the football. Also later threw an interception to Drake Kirkpatrick because I thought, oh, surely he can't jump that high sitting in cover 2. I got this corner route. No, he could jump that high. Yeah. It was a really good football team. Yeah. I remember it was close in the first half, actually. I'm going to tell you. It was 13-0 at halftime. I overthrew a double move that would have been a touchdown, and we missed 2 field goals. So you're telling me it could have been tied? We lost 34-0, and we had no business playing with them. But it was a game I remember.
So you were Diego Pavia before Diego Pavia.
I'd like to think so. Yeah, I had a little wiggle to my game. We ran a lot, but I didn't have the size and physicality that he has.
Well, nobody expected what happened in Nashville last year,
Yeah.
like except for maybe Diego Pavia and Clark Lee and the rest of the Vandy roster and coaching staff. But even they had to kind of surprise themselves
Totally.
a little bit by the way that they put it on Alabama, plain and simple. You hear all the time about belief, right? But realists will say, like, talent gap will separate these teams, and ultimately the more talented team is always going to win, and that'll determine the outcome. But Jordan, you've played an underdog before, obviously. How much does belief actually play a role when teams are really up against it, like Vandy was against number 1 Alabama last year?
I think it's crucial. Look, we when I was at Vanderbilt, we never walked on a field and we're the more talented team. Even mostly in non-conference games as well at times, based on what we had back then. But we believed we could win. And if we didn't have that belief, we would have had no shot whatsoever. I've had this conversation a couple of times, actually. I think in this NIL era, belief and culture, to me, go a little hand in hand. I think culture is becoming so much more important than it even was 5 or 6 years ago. Because in this NIL era, you can accumulate talent if you pay for it. What you can't accumulate or manufacture is culture and belief and confidence and brotherhood. I think that's a lot harder to achieve in this NIL era because guys are jumping left and right. Guys are happy that they're good, not great, because they're making $300,000-$400,000. Like, I'd get a little complacent too. So I think Kirby Smart kind of alluded to the fact that was a big part of what he was trying to reinstill in Georgia is the importance of culture, because that can be the difference maker. When everybody's talented, and everybody is talented in the SEC, what's the X factor? What's the stickiness? What makes you take that next step? A lot of times it's belief. A lot of times it's culture. A lot of times it's closeness of a team, that bringing together in the fourth quarter when you really need an answer and you need not to cower and run away in adversity. So I think in this day and age, it's actually becoming a lot more important than maybe it was even a few years ago.
And what about this year, right? Because, I mean, the tables have obviously turned in a big way. This is a revenge game for Alabama in 2025. Ryan Williams even said, we're going to kill an ant with a sledgehammer, right? Diego Pavia.
Love it.
Diego Pavia took note of that, as we know, and he loves that, and he plays with that chip on his shoulder. You know, we know that he and his teammates, they're going to come into Tuscaloosa ready to play. They're going to compete. They want to win. They've done it before. Can Vandy do it again in 2025?
It's going to be tough, man. The concern I have for Vandy is that they brought Diego Pavia and Tim Beck, their offensive coordinator, from New Mexico, and the offense is very unique, and it kind of took the SEC by surprise a little bit. It's not an offense you even really see a lot in other conferences, and I think they surprised some people. Alabama had them early. There wasn't a ton of tape against SEC opponents on what this offense could look like and how unique it was. Almost like facing a triple option, old school triple option. It's kind of a new school triple option that they run there. There's a lot more tape on them now, and if you watch them later in the season, teams started to figure it out. They only had a couple games. I think they didn't have a game down the stretch the last 6 or 7 games where they had more than 308 yards on offense. They only had one game where they had more than 308 yards or 300 yards in the last half of the season. So teams started to figure out that scheme. So I'm kind of interested to see how do they adjust that. I think they're going to need to adjust that scheme, find different ways to run the football, not just letting Diego Pavia be a bowling ball. If they don't do that, Alabama's a better football team. I'm okay saying that. Alabama is a better football team this year and every year. Some years that doesn't matter. This year it's going to be really tough because I think Alabama, especially on offense, is going to be really freaking good.
Just a couple more for you, Jordan. Yeah. You played his position. You know what's on the line for Ty Simpson as the presumptive starter in Tuscaloosa. What do you consider his ceiling as the Alabama starting quarterback?
I love Ty. I think he's got an incredibly high ceiling. He's not getting talked about enough. Ryan Grubb, a couple years ago I had the Alamo Bowl when he was at Washington. It was the single most impressive coaches meetings I've had. I think he is one of the best play designers, offensive minds that there is in college football. And frankly, this offense is built for Ty Simpson, not Jalen Milroe. Last year, it was kind of trying to fit a square peg in a round hole because you wanted to use the generational physical talent that Jalen Milroe was, but he had some limitations in the passing game that you didn't have with a Michael Penix Jr. at Washington.
Right.
And Ty Simpson is more of a Michael Penix Jr. He is a pocket passer with an incredibly elite arm talent, and that's what this offense is built for, a pocket passer that can distribute. So Ryan Grubb now can play chess, not checkers. And last year at times, I think he was trying to figure out, not he, because it was Nick Sheridan, but this offense was trying to figure out how do we use Milroe, but this is kind of who we are and who we've been. And it was just tug of war of using a generational talent, but not really being your identity of what made you successful on offense. So I think they are going to be really good this year on that side of the football. And I think Ty Simpson's got a chance to be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. I had him ranked just outside my top 5. Because of the unknowns, he only attempted 25 passes last year, so I probably had him right behind Arch at 5. But I think he's got a chance to be really good.
Jordan, last question. Is Alabama a contender for a national title this year?
Yes, and I've said it all week. I think they're extremely overlooked. I like to play a little blackjack in Vegas and occasionally a little roulette, and sometimes when you sit at the roulette table and it's red, 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 eventually it's going to be black, right? Kalen DeBoer is a winner. Last year, 9 wins was a massive disappointment for everybody, him included, which is crazy to talk about because of the standard Alabama's that high. He's going to be better. He's been elite everywhere he's been. He's not going to have a repeat of what they were last year. He's not going to lose another game where they're a 14-point favorite. That's not going to happen. So I expect just by odds of how good he's been for so long, they're going to be better, let alone the pieces that are around him. The physicality on defense will be the one thing I need to see more of. Need to see them be that Alabama brand of physicality up front. They can unlock that piece. Absolutely, they can compete.
On that note, exactly. Jordan Rodgers from ESPN and SEC Network. We're big fans of yours. Really appreciate the time.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Alabama football defensive lineman Tim Keenan. We're here with Alabama defensive lineman Tim Keenan III. I'm just curious, off the jump, have you ever been chewed out by Kalen DeBoer? If so, what's that like?
No, I haven't been chewed out by Coach DeBoer yet. But to get chewed out by him, he get real red on you. So I done seen him get intense. And he a little taller than Coach Saban, so he got a little more to him. Like, all right, Coach, my bad. I'm gonna get right. But yeah, Coach DeBoer, he get intense, especially because he's so laid back.
Right.
Like a lot of people, they take their laid backness for the kindness for a weakness, but they don't realize people be laid back for a reason. They be laid back because they don't realize how much hell they can really cause. So.
Tim, who is, not counting yourself, okay, who's the most competitive guy on the team? Like, who's the biggest dog, the guy that'll outwork anybody?
I'd say, like, James Smith, Bray Hubbard, D-Law, QB Reese, all them guys, Jordan Rodgers, they don't want to let you get none of them. Like, they don't want you to win not one rep before them. So even like some young guys like Noah Carter, like all those guys got that competitive edge. And I'm only kind of speaking on defense because that's all I really be around for real. Of course, we're around the offense, but I'm more in tune with my defensive guys.
Tim, who's the strongest guy on the team?
Big Jaden.
Easy answer?
Jaden Roberts. He's the swollest guy on the team. He just hit a new school record for something like that. So yeah.
Okay. How about fastest guy?
Fastest guy? Oh, we got some guys here. They pulling. So it might depend on the day. Just know they over 21 miles per hour.
What kind of player is Ty Simpson?
Ty Simpson is definitely that guy that you would want to you wouldn't mind playing for, going hard for. He's a great guy. He's definitely high IQ level, and he's gonna stick to. He's gonna be the best team player ever. He's unselfish, so he has a great quality, especially being that quarterback.
Tim, why are you and the D-line going to get to the quarterback this year?
We're gonna do what we coach to do. We're gonna follow our technique and just execute the plan and go 1-0 every play. That's what's gonna get us there. Doing what we coach to do.
Who is your favorite Alabama defensive lineman of all time?
I'm gonna have to go Quentin. Yeah, no knock to Deron, no knock to Marcel or DJ, nobody like that. But Quentin Williams, just that's my favorite right there. He's my favorite guy.
Tim, last one. You're originally from Birmingham, Alabama, right?
Yes,
who are the best? Give me your top 3 or so best 4 football players from the Birmingham area.
Ooh, from the Birmingham area. Okay. Of course, you got Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
Feel me? You got Nico Collins. Who else? Jameis Winston. Who else from Alabama? Or Birmingham? like Deron Payne, those guys like that.
Yeah.
So those guys I say some of the best for in Alabama.
That's a solid list. Tim Keenan III, thanks for spending some time with us. Good luck this year.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Here's my conversation with Alabama offensive lineman Kadyn Proctor. Okay, we're sitting here with Alabama offensive lineman Kadyn Proctor. Frankly, I'm glad that we're sitting and not standing.
Yes, sir.
Kadyn, part of football is getting chewed out by the coach, right? You've been chewed out a few times.
And no doubt about that. It doesn't. I've been chewed out by the defensive coaches. It don't really matter, honestly. Like that's like you said. That's the nature of college football, and at any level, high school got chewed out, college, and soon as I get to the NFL, I know that's how it's going to be. But you have to understand that it's out of love, and that's kind of something how I had to see it. Like my first year, Coach Wolf, me and him were getting into some battles, some arguments, but I know that he just wants the best out of me, and Coach Cap does the same thing. So yeah, that's just how it goes. It's the nature of football.
How about Kalen DeBoer? Have you gotten chewed out by Kalen DeBoer?
I have not.
Whoa.
I have not got chewed out by Coach DeBoer. I got, I think Coach Grubb, Coach Cap. Those are kind of the main ones right there. But Coach DeBoer, not yet. I know I'm going to maybe sometime.
You've seen, I assume, Saban a couple of times.
Oh,
What's that like?
no doubt about that. I would give up a sack my freshman year, and I'll come off the sideline and y'all see the videos. He'll just be up in your face. It don't matter how small he is. You have to. Yeah, like I'm saying, it doesn't matter how small he is. It's intense. You know who Coach Saban is, so it's you look at him in the eyes and you have that level of respect for him. So
Yeah, we see it, but we don't actually hear what he's saying. We can imagine maybe what he's saying a little bit. Kadyn, who is the most competitive guy on the team? Like, who's the biggest dog, the guy who will outwork anybody?
I really couldn't highlight one specific person because I know this whole off season and in the summer, Coach DeBoer has been saying like it's gonna be one of the hardest summers at Alabama, and it has been that. And I've seen guys like Parker Brailsford, Joe Ionata, Casey Poe, and even the freshman that came in, Michael Carroll, Jackson Lloyd. Like those guys are at the top of the leaderboard. Sometimes when we're running and doing things, it's just that day in and day out grind. I mean, there's not one person. It's all collective. I can't lie.
I'm interested in your answer here. Who's the strongest guy on the team?
Jaden Roberts and me.
And you.
And me.
I have heard people say Jaden Roberts. You think you can go
Jaden Roberts
toe-to-toe?
and me. It depends. Like, I feel because after I had surgery, I feel like I'm not as strong anymore. We can do the same weight, but I'm not moving it like some of the other guys are. And I that's something I had to get over. Like, I know that my shoulder's not going to be the same after having surgery. Sometimes when we bench press, I'll be doing heavy weight, but I'll be in 10th or 15th place when I was just getting started off at. It really doesn't matter. It just all matters about that work that you're putting in.
How about the fastest guy?
Fastest guy, Rico Scott.
Rico Scott.
I'll probably say Rico Scott. No, yeah.
Should we expect big things from him this year?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Really?
I know people have been saying like he's an underdog or whatever, but forget all that talk, man. Everybody that we have in that wide receiver room is great, and they play to the level of the Alabama football standards. So I'm proud of all of them, and Rico's gonna do his thing.
Kadyn, what kind of player is Ty Simpson?
He's a leader. He's definitely grown in many ways that I've seen, especially obviously not being the starting QB. In the past couple of years, but he still talks to us. He still shows that love and care for his offensive line, and that's something that we can all appreciate about him. And this year, being one of the leaders now, he's talked way more, and we kind of feel him as a player. Like we have that level of respect for him, no doubt. But whoever that quarterback is, there's a high level of respect for any one of them, no matter what age they are.
Kadyn, your former teammate Tyler Booker, I want to read a quote of his right after he got drafted in the first round this year. He said, quote, "Football is a child's game. People wake up. They're like, I can't wait to play this football game today. They get so excited to play football until they come across Tyler Booker, and then I'm going after you quarter after quarter, play after play, series after series, and I start to see that love leave their eyes. That's what makes me love the game."
Yeah.
Do you share that mentality, and what is Kadyn Proctor's version of that?
I love that. I totally 100% agree with that, and I could probably say the same thing. Is I know it's kind of harsh to say, but seeing people down and hurt, knowing like that's what you did to them, I find enjoyment of that because we're offensive line, we're in the trenches. You're telling me that I can go out and physically assault somebody, especially with some of the outside factors that you have or internal or some of the stressors that you have, and I can go out on the football field and take that out on somebody. You don't gotta say no more to me. I'm with it. I'm behind it all.
Okay, I'm convinced. Kadyn, last question. Who's your favorite Alabama offensive lineman of all time?
That's tough, man. I would say it's probably a mix between the guys that have been in the room with me, J.C. Latham, Tyler Booker. Those guys are definitely top with me just because I play with them. But some of the old heads like, Jedrick Wills, it's really anybody that before me that has carried that Bama standard and has gone on to the league and has success. I appreciate every single one of them, no doubt, and I just hope I can be like them one day.
Well, Kadyn Proctor, so cool talking to you. Thanks for doing this.
Sir.
Good luck this year.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks. We caught up with our friend and colleague, AL.com Alabama football writer and reporter Nick Kelly. Hey, we're here with AL.com's Nick Kelly, regular on the pod here. But Nick, you're on the other side of the camera this time after doing an awesome job for us here at SEC Media Days. So today's Alabama Day. We saw Kalen DeBoer. He was in the main room, had his press conference. What did you learn from Kalen DeBoer ahead of year two?
I think that he understands what went wrong and that they've taken steps to address it, where it's not just, okay, hey, we lost these games we shouldn't have, or we gave this game away, or things like that. It's, okay, what went wrong, but why did it go wrong? Yep. How is it fixed after that? And talking to Kadyn Proctor, he talked about making sure that preparation, I think that's a cliche we hear, that preparation's got to be better. But I think one way they're trying to make sure that preparation is better is not just focusing more toward the end of the week, but really, hey, the minute you were done with that game, 24-hour rule is up, you are in the film room, you are shifting to the next game, and you're starting to prepare as if that game is the next day. And so I think that preparation is a big key, how they make sure they handle success better.
I don't know how you talk to Kadyn Proctor through the clouds of cologne that apparently he carries with him everywhere.
170 is
170
what
bottles.
He has.
He's like Brian Fontaine from Anchorman, right? You remember Paul Rudd's character with all the colognes? Yeah, that's Kadyn Proctor. Just slightly bigger. Nick, somebody pointedly asked Kalen DeBoer during his press conference, did the 2024 season live up to the Alabama standard? What did DeBoer say, and what did you think of his answer?
I mean, in short, he said no once he got to that point of giving more yes or no kind of answer.
Yeah.
And he's right. And I think, again, it comes back to he understands last year was not good enough because it wasn't. I mean, yes, 9 wins for a lot of teams is good, and Greg Sankey even mentioned on the way in that I think tied the record for most wins in a first season for an Alabama coach. But, of course, in Alabama it's different. 9 wins in a season after what Nick Saban did is not acceptable, especially when it means you're not in the playoff. If they had 9 wins, they made the playoff, I think it would have been a little bit more digestible, but they didn't. So I think Kalen DeBoer realizes that it's not enough. And even Kadyn Proctor mentioned as well, they haven't won a championship in a while, and they recognize that. Now, of course, 5 years for some other programs would seem like nothing, but for Alabama, that's a long time to go without a national championship. And so they recognize the pressure, and they know that them not making the playoff, not being able to compete for a national championship was not up to the standard that Alabama has.
So you and I interviewed Kalen DeBoer a while back, like a little more than a month ago now, I think. And we came away with the same conclusion that DeBoer seemed locked in for 2025. And I don't think that I drew a different conclusion from his presser today and what I've heard from him. What do you think about the players, though? Because he brought 3 players with him, Tim Keenan, Kadyn Proctor, and Deontay Lawson. Do you think that they're on the same page when it comes to DeBoer's messaging? Did you sense any sort of change from that? Or do you think this is a team that has sort of built something together and these guys are all kind of speaking the same language and delivering the same message as they get ready for their first game coming soon?
Yeah, full disclosure, I was camped out at Kadyn Proctor the whole time they were in the big room, so I mainly just heard his perspective. But I sense that he is locked in, and I do sense that he's mimicking and understanding what DeBoer is seeking. And I think a big piece of it is a lot of this team is coming back. They didn't lose a lot of pieces. They didn't lose anyone in the spring transfer portal window. And DeBoer's talked about that continuity and that familiarity, how key that is. And I think that bodes well in terms of people understanding his message and buying in of, hey, DeBoer's saying this, we're going to do this, because clearly these people believe in DeBoer, otherwise they wouldn't still be here, because they've had chances to leave. They could have left right after he took the job. They could have left in that window, this window. And so these guys are here, and for better or for worse, they're with DeBoer in this. And so I do think that they sound similar and they have a similar tone to what DeBoer is putting out there.
We heard somebody ask DeBoer about the quarterback situation. Someone asked him to handicap it. I mean, we all assume that Ty Simpson is going to start. Do you think that we learned anything new, whether it's from DeBoer in the main room and with the interviews that he's been doing, or the chatter among Digital Drive and Radio Row here at SEC Media Days? What have you learned about Ty Simpson today?
To me, nothing's changed, and DeBoer said that, but I believe it too. I really will be shocked if Ty Simpson's not the starter for the Week 1 game against Florida State, just because he's the guy who has most just familiarity with college football in big environments. No, he's not started in a bunch of them, but he's been around. He's been around some big games, and also going on the road, which is an area DeBoer noted they need to improve in. You want to go with something that's a bit more certain, a little bit more, hey, you can trust him to maybe not make as bad of plays. Maybe the upside's not as high as someone else, but I think that's why Ty Simpson earned the place he's in and being that front runner, because you look at what he did in the A-Day practice. No, he didn't have some amazing throw that everyone just dropped their jaws and like that was incredible, but he also didn't make the mistakes, at least to the naked eye, that maybe Keelan Russell or Austin Mack did. And so I think you want that more sure thing for a Week 1 game like that. So I'd be really stunned unless something crazy happens over fall camp that Ty Simpson would not be the starter.
So if you've got one takeaway from Alabama at SEC Media Days that our listeners and Alabama fans should also take away, what is it? If they ask you, Nick, what's the gist? Like, what do I need to know about Alabama as a result of SEC Media Days, the unofficial kickoff to the season? What do you tell them?
Kadyn Proctor smells better than any. No, I'm just kidding. That's not the answer, although I'm probably not going to forget that more than anything else that was said today.
No.
To me, Ben, it is something else he said. It's about they have not won a national championship in a while. And hearing that to me, it sounded, like they're very conscious of it. They're not just hey, we need to get winning again, or we need to hit the standard, because that's so intangible. I think they recognize that this is a drought for Alabama. Maybe not for some fan bases, but this is a drought for Alabama, and they need to get back to that. So him saying that, I think, was the biggest thing that stood out to me today.
So another SEC Media Days nearly in the books here in Atlanta. How many is this for you now? How many media days?
This is 5 for me. So yeah, half a decade of media days.
This is my first
Welcome.
SEC Media Days ever. Yeah, I regret not going in Hoover when the ring hat guys were there. You would see them on campus every now and then outside Bryant-Denny Stadium. Can't miss them, Nick. But you look sharp today too, man. Wearing your blue houndstooth sports coat here. Are you sending any sort of message with this color? Why the blue?
I like a nice blue. Too much of my wardrobe is blue, frankly, Ben. I like a good blue, though, and broke it out for today.
Well, it's a gold lanyard you're wearing there, so I don't know if that's the Missouri connection there or if that's just a coincidence.
I mean, I do like black and gold. We've established this, Ben. But
coincidentally, right?
Coincidentally,
sure.
But blue's my favorite color.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll take it. Nick Kelly has been here all week covering SEC Media Days. You can find his work on AL.com along with his colleague, our colleague Matt Stahl, Michael Casagrande, the sports video team from AL.com. They've been doing tremendous work. So just go to AL.com and all of our social platforms and you can see all of what we have to offer for SEC Media Days. Nick Kelly, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for having me, which feels weird.
Our thanks to Kadyn Proctor, Tim Keenan, Jordan Rodgers, and AL.com's Nick Kelly. Our thanks to all those special guests who spent some time with us today. We really appreciate it. Look for more from Beat Everyone at SEC Media Days on the podcast soon. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Beat Everyone is produced by Matt Scalisi and John Hammontree. I'm Ben Flanagan with AL.com. We'll see you soon.